attention, please. So, okay, so Rivian, the title of the story that we're about to get involved in and get into is called Women in Aviation. And so we're gonna, I would like someone to give me the definition of aviation, which Rivian has his hand raised. Yes, Rivian. What does the word aviation mean?
The design, development, production, operation, and use of aircraft, especially heavier than aircraft, military aircraft.
Okay, great job. So when you hear the word aviation, we know that's, we think of what, airplane, and we know that somebody's getting ready to do what? Fly. Okay, absolutely, great job. Okay, so in this story is actually is talking about women who's made history who have flown an airplane. And we know people that fly airplanes, they are called what? What are they called?
Pilots.
Okay, airplane pilots. They're called pilots. All right, good job. Okay, so the main skills that we're going to be looking at from this story, which is titled Women in Aviation, you're going to be able to determine the author's purpose, cite evidence, and evaluate details. And you're also going to be finding out the tribute that was made to women in aviation. And we're also going to look at the aviation timeline within this story. And also precise language and denotation and connotation. All right, so in determining the author's purpose, remember we talked about the author's purpose? And we said that the acronym for the author's purpose was what? P-I. Okay, P-I-E. How?
Persuade, inform, entertain.
And we know that we're gonna have this pie is gonna be divided to what? 3 sections. Okay, raise your hands, please. We talked about these three ways that an author can determine the purpose of an informational text. All right, give me one. Keith. Entertain. Excuse me. I'm about to take the chair. I'm about to do it. Okay, so entertainment. Okay, hold on. I wrote it to you. Let me make it a little smaller so I can get the word inside. Okay, E-N-T-E-R-T-A-I-N. Could you close the door, please? I don't like my door to be left open. Thank you. All right, give me another author's purpose. All right, Deborah. Persuade, absolutely. Good job. Persuade. And what's the last way to determine the author's purpose? Jermichael? Inform. Good job. Okay, so these words are exactly what they state. We know if someone is informing us about something, they're doing what? What do we do when we inform people? We give them what? Raise your hand, please. Keith, I mean, not Keith, Jaden. We give them information, absolutely. And if you see, notice here, this word inform is part of the word what? Information. All right, good job. So people, when they give information, it's something that it may be of importance or it may not be important. But we know that people give information to hopefully to benefit us and to support and help us. All right, and entertain, people can do entertain us by what? Doing what? Okay, Keith. Okay, making them laugh. Okay, also for what? If you really look at entertainment, it's for what? Enjoyment, right? People entertain people for the enjoyment. Not necessarily to make people laugh, but sometimes it may make, because sometimes people may just want some, just some excitement. They just want to have fun. So overall, entertainment is just to have fun. Okay, persuade. When we talk about persuade, what do we mean persuade? Let me call on some other people that I don't see hands up. Neil. When you hear the word persuade, what comes to mind? Persuade. I can't hear you. Can you speak a little louder? You said opinion? Well, okay. I'll work with that. Get it warm. You get it warm. Okay, Amelia.
Trying to convince somebody.
Okay, absolutely. Persuade is you're trying to convince. A great word. Great. Okay, good job. All right, so when we're talking about persuade, we're trying to convince someone, or we're trying to get someone to, now really, I need you to come on in and have a seat with me. Thank you. Okay, so when we're talking about persuade, sometimes we know that people are trying to convince you to do something, like whether they're selling a product and they're trying to convince you to buy their product. Because you know, if someone goes in business, they're gonna do what? They're trying to persuade you to buy their product. So they're gonna give you all of the advantages of their product. And sometimes they're not gonna give you too many disadvantages, but they're gonna try to persuade. Sometimes they persuade you to go to a game, go to a party. So we know that people persuade people to try to get them convinced in. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. Okay, so now let's go a little more deeper into the story. So it says, what is this history about aviation? What is it so much important about aviation? Well, we know that many years ago, that males have been the people that actually, the male was dominant in flying airplanes. But we know that as the time and the years passed and months, we know that women started doing exactly the same thing that men were doing. We know that women are not stronger than men, of course, we know that. But women have the opportunity to advance and go into different career fields. So the women want to become a pilot. And I think that's great. Just like, we had women that go up into space and whatever, so that's great. So, women have come a long way. Women have made remarkable contributions and have made history. Okay, for example, okay, so let's just get back to the story here. So it says, wow, this informational text, this is an informational text, so we know that the author's purpose for this text is going to be what? To what? Which one of these purposes is this author going to display in the story of women in aviation? Now read. What is the author doing? If this is an informational text and the story is titled Women in Aviation, what is the author's purpose for this informational text? What's the author's purpose for this story? Scotty, what would be the author's purpose for Women in Aviation? The author's doing what? Is he entertaining us? Is he informing us? Or is he persuading us?
Informing.
Okay, all right, great job. Okay, he's going to inform us, giving us information. So it says here that while this informational text features the accomplishments of many prominent women in early aviation, Sophie Blanchard, Catherine Wright, Raymond De La Roche, Harriet Quinley, and Amelia Earhart, it zeroes in on Bessie Coleman, an African-American woman from Texas who moved to France to become the first black woman to earn her pilot's license. Coleman's and other stories from the time will open up discussion about this period when women were considered inferior to men in most avenues of life. So when we think of the word inferior, what comes to mind? Inferior. So if I say that Keith feels inferior when it comes to women, what am I saying? Okay, Rivian, what am I saying?
Keith is better than women.
Okay, Keith is better. Well, great job, excellent. That means that he feels like he's what? He's on top of them. He's more skilled than they are. He has more talent. He has more skills, and he can do better than they can. And so women have to prove that. And so we know that we are actually going into the month of February, which is also has been set aside as the what? What is the month of February called? Okay, great job, Black History Month. So this story is a great story that will lead us into the month of February, because we know there were a lot of black historians that made a lot of great contributions to the African American culture. So we'll talk more about that. So let's get into this story here. Okay, so we're gonna take a look at some other things. So I just want to say that at the end of this unit, I'm gonna be asking you all to write an informative essay. So it could be an essay where you're giving somebody information about maybe an upcoming event, like maybe a game, the Super Bowl, the NBA playoffs, or the NCAA championship, whatever I would say just current events that are occurring right now. So I want you to write an informational essay. And in that essay, I want you to give some information. So I want you to first I want you to think about your topic. I want you to do some brainstorming. Yes, it has to just be one topic. So, because you want to elaborate on that topic, because you want to give out information about that particular topic. Okay, all right, so engaging your brain. So from this story, Women in Aviation, I'm going to get you all to thinking about flying machines. Has anybody here ever flown an airplane? Well, not flown an airplane, but ever rode on an airplane? Anybody ever been on a plane before? Okay, great job. All right, let's talk about what was that experience like. Let me get some other hands. What was that experience like? Amelia?
So last year for my birthday,
It was my basically first from a plane that's open. And like I was scared when I went in the air. And like the noise from the window was like
Oh, okay. So that was like pretty much a bad experience that you had with the popping of the ears, and that's normal. When does that usually occur? When the plane, okay, when the plane is taking off, okay. Do you hear that sound, or do you experience that when the plane is about to land?
No.
Okay, but you do hear that. You can hear like the turbulence and the plane, kind of like, making this like rumbling sound as it hits the pavement and it comes along on the runway. Absolutely. Okay, all right. So flying machines and engaging. You had something going, bring me on. Yes.
Last year I was scared doing the plane.
Why?
Good, I want to the plane that like you like going down and exploding. No, for real.
They said it seemed like it's going down the what?
Going down and exploding. That's all I like.
So you actually think that the plane is going to crash?
Not all the time, just I've been seeing so many things like that.
Oh, okay. So the moves kind of make you very fearful and afraid. Okay. Okay, well, so far it hasn't exploded. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna explain. Yes, sir. Yes, please. Okay, flying machine is gonna explain that the glider has. You're gonna be able to explain that the glider has wings but no engine. I want to encourage y'all to think about what an early airplane might have looked like. So, what do y'all think the airplanes looked like many years ago? Because it's very totally different than the airplanes that you see today. Okay, let me get some other people here. Okay, go ahead, Jamaica. Okay, when you say less armor, give me more. Say it again.
He's talking like, it wasn't like made out of metal, it wasn't like reinforced, it had like all high tech.
It's not all of the protection.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let me ask you this question. Do you think they had what they call the black box, or do you think they had computers?
No. I think that they had some like small type of technology, but not no like full on computers. You know what I mean?
Okay, so you think maybe they may have had like some type of radio that had like a frequency or some type of way to where they like a walkie-talkie or something where they can speak and talk back to the people at the station? Okay, at the airport? Okay. What else could you say about the airport? What about the size? Because airplanes now, the aircraft that they have now, they are pretty much, they're huge, right?
Yeah.
All right, so who can tell me, like, just give me an estimate of how many passengers you think can fit on the airplanes today opposed to the airplane that was flown many years ago? Raise your hand, please. Okay, Rivian.
So for like today's airplanes or back then?
Okay, either one. Which one you want to talk about? The ones a long time ago or the ones?
Today I feel like I'll say
Sit up for me, Nazari, before you do it now. Sit up for me, please. Thank you.
148.
Before you do it now, thank you. 148 people on the airplane. Okay. All right, anybody else? Okay, Emiliana?
The older airplanes were, I think about 5 people, and the new is small.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay, Keith? Okay. All right, 50 people, okay, all right. So let's look at in aviation, let's talk about some different types of airplanes. What are some different types of airplanes?
A cargo ball.
Okay, Jeremiah,
A cargo ball.
say it again.
A cargo ball.
Oh, okay. And explain to us, what is that?
It's like, it's an army, like a helicopter where they like put like they cars and high tech stuff like that inside of it. So it's like huge.
Okay. So I want somebody to give me another different type of aircraft. Keith? Okay, fire jet. Okay, what else? Okay, Rivian? Helicopters. Okay, good job. So we know all of these things, and pretty much, if we look at it, and we know in the military, they use a lot of aircraft, especially the Air Force, right? So we know that with the Air Force, what do they have on the Air Force, the aircraft that they use? Keith? Okay, Jaden? Okay. Sometimes the airplanes are built with the what? With the ammunition, and especially like if anybody's ever seen a World War II or just a war movie in itself, And you know that the planes have like this ammunition, and that boom, 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 boom. And you know, they come in and it's like, it kind of looks like a, what? But they really kind of come out like a, it hits and it strikes like a, what? Like an explosion, it's like a bomb. And they have like these big cannons and coming out and they shoot, and what it looks like an arrow. And so they had to do that in combat in war. So aviation, so women want, I guess the women probably say, if men could do it, we can do it too. And so we can learn. And so who all knew that you had to go to school to get a license to become a pilot? Okay, because we know that somebody can't just say, I want to fly this plane.
Don't you run a license if you want to drive anything?
Pretty much, yes. You know, you have to have a driver's license to do what? To drive a vehicle. So of course, you know, if somebody wants to get in an airplane and wants to be a pilot, you can't get in there, you haven't been to school and you don't know what button you put, you end up pushing the button, and like you said, there will be an explosion with it. Okay? Yes, sir. Oh. Okay, all right, so you all, so I want everybody to turn to page 152, and that's and so don't forget that in engaging in your brain, I want y'all to explain that a glider, I want everybody, those that have their textbook on, because it may not be in the back of your textbook, but if you have the Chromebooks open or whatever, I want somebody to look up the word, give us the definition of the word glider. G-L-I-D-E-R. Okay, Rivian.
I'll say the definition of glide is probably like something like a parachute. Not like a parachute, but you going in, you pull it out, and then like you glide or you kind of get it.
Okay. All right, so it says a glider has wings but no engine. Okay, all right, so I just guess, Nazari. So what? Go ahead. All right, so we're gonna explain, so I wanna encourage y'all to think about, we just spoke about what an early airplane may look like, and based on what paper airplanes look like. So who out here, okay, somebody describe a paper airplane. Okay, Kente? Okay, so how do people make paper airplanes? Hurry up, Nazari. Come on, Nazaria. Mr. Benjamin, what is Nazaria doing out there in the hallway?
She is talking to students from other classes.
Okay, tell her I said, come on inside the classroom. Okay. All right, so what we're doing here is we're trying to make certain that everybody knows. So somebody describe, y'all make, who need to have made paper airplanes before? I can't get nobody to explain how you make it, what it looks like.
Can I make it?
Okay, will somebody make me one, please? And I want, when you make it, I want you to describe to me what it looks like. Paper, okay, I want everybody, and those that want to make it paper, don't go to the line or not. I might get, well, we might get somebody to fly and let's see how what it does. Let's see who can make the perfect one. I want to see.
What type of BS?
Look at the Michael ready for one. He's gonna come up, get him that front seat. He's ready. Are you gonna show him? I told him to go fast. You got the best. Tell him to go. Okay, let me get everybody to make a paper airplane. Let's go. You know what I mean? Okay, all right, that's fine. You know what I mean? Okay, paper. It's not time. Okay.
No time. No time.
That's what I was thinking too, I know that. Okay. Hey. Okay.
You know what, we can start doing airplanes.
Okay, all right, great job. So explain to me, okay, this paper airplane. Describe to me what that paper airplane is doing. Is it floating? Is it gliding? Is it staying in position in the way that in which what is it doing? Okay, Jaden. Okay, bring it back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I need everybody's attention, please. Thank you. Okay, so in looking at that, okay, we just made a paper airplane, so we know what it looks like. All right, so I want y'all to, well, pretty much everybody to share. Let me see your airplanes. Hold them up. I'm trying to see who got one that really looks like a real airplane. What it looks like. Let's see. Okay, I like it. Taste. Good job. Yours kind of looks like a, let me see. Hold up. Yeah. Okay. Looks like one that it looks like the green warp. Okay.
No.
Okay. Let me see what you got, Keith. I mean, not Keith. Isaiah. Ooh. Okay. All right. Okay. Jay, yours and Keith count. I mean, yours and Isaiah count is somewhat similar. Okay. All right. So let's go on. Okay. So also, early airplanes were experiments that built on the basic design of gliders. In the box, draw a picture of an early airplane, either from memory or your imagination. So I want everybody to draw an airplane. I'm going to walk around and see what your airplane looks like. On that page, everybody should be on page 152. Give me draw what you think an airplane looks like. It could be from many years ago, it could be one of today. And we all know that airplanes had wings, because if they didn't have wings, what would happen?
You gonna fall down? Well, it's not even gonna move.
Okay. Okay. All right, so let's draw what you think of an airplane. Let's see if we have a good drawing of an airplane. I know a lot of y'all may say, I can't draw. Just do your best. Let me ask y'all this question. Do you think women did a good job? Do anybody know any women pilots?
Sophie Brockman. She said, do you know this?
I know I said, do you know of anybody personally, I mean real life? Not just what we read in the story, but, okay. Has anybody ever seen, now I'm not talking about a flight attendant, because I've seen a female pilot, I sure have. And they stood on, they had the little, like what they call, like the little captain of the ship, captain of the ship, had the little hat on, with their little, white uniform on, yeah. Absolutely. Watch it put, why are you not with your book open now? Open your book up. Try to draw it. Okay, we're talking about the story of the women in aviation. I need you to participate. Let me see, hold it up. Let's see what it looks like. Oh my goodness. Oh wow. Okay. Yours look like one of those. That's back in the day, right? Okay. Okay, come over here. She's trying to get something together. Put together here, bring it on.
Soraya, let me try one.
Let's see. Okay, I like that. So that's a more updated one. Put that away, Jeremiah. And really, I know we a cheat. She tracing. What you got, Keith? That's it. Yeah, that's what they call like the prop. That looks like one of those aircrafts that they use. Anybody ever been seen like a country field or like a field of where they had like cotton or either wheat or rice? Yeah. And they had those the crop. They call those the croppers. They go in, they spray. Oh yeah. Okay, so let's go on. Let's move. So I'm gonna list these 3 steps once again. So to determine the author's purpose, the author determines the purpose by what? Persuading. Inform. And what? And entertain. Good job. Okay, so let's look at dreamer traits. So remember we talked about character traits. So a character trait is where we look at a person's behavior, their attitude. We also look, for example, if a person has a trait of persevering, he or she doesn't give up when things get difficult. That means that when they have a challenge, they do what? They keep going. They keep going. So we know that you never give up. Remember we just got done talking about our positive affirmations? You know, I can learn from my mistakes and failures. So that means that we don't throw in the towel, we don't give up, we keep pushing, we keep on. So when we look at character traits, we're talking about how does the character feel? What is it that the character wanted? Did the character get what he or she wanted? Did the character get along well with the other characters? What type of conflict or problem did the character encounter? Was it an internal conflict? Was it an external conflict? Was the character able to accomplish their goal or whatever they were sought out to get? So we look at all of those things, and we look at, because we know that when we're talking about character traits, we're not so concerned about their physical appearance. Remember, we pretty much are like their emotional and social character traits. Like, were they nice? Were they sweet? Were they friendly? Were they mean? Were they arrogant? Were they upset? Were they isolated from others? You know, how did they feel? It's pretty much like their feelings. We want to know how did they feel? What were they feeling? What were they thinking? So that's what we look at when we're looking at character traits. You know, what was their personality like? What was their attitude? Did they have a positive attitude? So, in looking at and talking about dreams, I want you all to make a word web of traits that can help a person who is pursuing a dream. Discuss your choices with the class. So we'll give y'all about 5 minutes. I want y'all to jot that down. You can jot it down on that page there. You can just jot it down underneath that wine machine box. I want y'all to make a word web. So I want you to do like a word web. You can draw a circle, or you can just put words in it, or you can do like little lines, like a little timeline, and you can just write words. So give me a word, and then I just want you to start listing traits that can help that person who is pursuing a dream. And I want you to discuss it. So what is one word that you can say, like if somebody is trying to live out their dream? Or who's pursuing their dream? Give me one word, and then I want you to start listing other words that connects with that one word.
Don't stop.
Okay, because persevere is one, but I don't want y'all to use that word. I want you to, what about motivation? So you can say motivation, and then you can start listing words. I want everybody to just go off of motivation. And I want you all to list words if a person is trying to live out their dream and trying to achieve their dream, which is nothing but a goal. What are they going to do? Okay, but I want you to use words. I want you to give me words that relate to that. I'm going to give you one. I'm going to start y'all. Inspire. So if motivation is the key word, what are some words that can help a person to live out their dream or pursue their dream? Okay, focus. Write the words. I want you to write those words down. I want you to write motivation. So word well, we can do it like this. We can do it something like a factory tree, and I just want you to do this. So write the word motivation. Then we said inspire. Okay, and someone said focus. And so I'm just gonna leave these words up, and I want somebody to give me at least 2 more words. Okay, determined. All right, good job. Raise your hand, please. Don't yell out. Go ahead. Go ahead. All right, and somebody give me 1 more word. Okay, Jada. Well, we already have that word. Motivation is our word. So we say if somebody's trying to live out their dream, they inspire. Let's add a D, let's make it catchy. They're focused, they're determined, and give me 1 more word. Give me 1 more word. Okay, now read. Huh? They're positive. Okay. All right, so these are some great words. Good job. Thank you, Nari. So motivation, so we can look at it, because if a person is definitely trying to pursue their dream, which is a goal they're trying to accomplish or reach, they're definitely going to be motivated, but they also need to be inspired, focused, determined, positive. What about supported? Don't you have to have support? Yeah, absolutely. You want somebody to support you in your dream, right?
Yeah.
So you have to be supported.
Oh, and you gotta be patient. So patient.
Okay, patience. Okay, good job. Most definitely. Okay. All right, so let's move on. All right, so now let's look at great aviators. So we'll probably actually we'll go ahead and we're gonna go on to that. So, great aviators, let's finish page 152. So it says, briefly research famous aviators or pilots from the early 20th century. So those that have their Chromebook, I want you to open up your Chromebook and I want you to give me at least 3 aviators. And women in fact, I want you to collect a list of, it says, collect a list of at least 3 to discuss with a partner. So I'm gonna give you about 10 minutes. I should have a timer started, but we'll go ahead and I'll put 10 minutes and then I'll keep changing the number. 10 minutes. Everybody should have that Chromebook. I need everyone participating. I need your Chromebook open, please. Everybody participate. We're not sitting in class like we don't have anything to do. Everybody has a task. Yes, sir. Yes, Jada. I want you to look up on your Chromebook and I want you to give me the name of three aviators. 3 aviators from that were pilots, people that were pilots from the 20th century. And they need to be female. We're talking about women in aviation. And if anybody was listening, I actually named about 3 or 4 women. I want you to write it down. Yes, so what now? Okay.
On my desk.
Okay, I need everyone to be focused. Thank you, Kylie, for sitting there quietly doing your work. Thank you, Emiliana. Thank you, Jaden. Thank you, Brianna. Good job.
What would you say that? All the way
Thank
in
you,
the back.
Janae. Thank you, Dee. Thank you, Kente. I see students that are actually getting on it. Good job. Great job. Thank you, Jeremiah. Thanks, Nari. Let me see if everyone else is on task. Remember, we're looking for only 3 pilots that went from the 20th century. You got one? Okay, write it down. Write it down. I want you to give me 3. Give me 3 aviators, 3 pilots. They must be females. They must be females. We're talking about women in aviation, right? That's the title of our story here, our informational text. Yes, ma'am. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I think we lost about 3 minutes already, so we have to like, oh, the 6 minutes. Yes. You got something? You got something? Okay. You don't have to write anything about it. You make us, if you find out like the time that they flew, like from the time, from the years or how many years they flew, they, piloted aircraft, that would be great. Yes, Jamaica.
We saw Val.
Okay, let's stick to what we're doing here. We can talk about that a little later on, okay? We should be down to about 4 minutes. And counting. 4 minutes and counting. Right now, I just want you all to name them. And then I want you to tell, like, maybe where they may give like some destinations of where they flew from, some destinations of where they flew from, or flew to. Because we know that, let me ask this question, because I should have asked this prior to the introduction about aviation. Which one is faster in transportation? Would you say a train, a bus, a car, or an airplane? Absolutely. Because like I told you, where I'm currently originally from, Mississippi, I drove there numerous of times by myself, and that's a 12-hour drive from here to Mississippi to where I'm from. It's 12 hours. Yes, sir.
Bessie go home.
That's what now? Coleman, absolutely, yes. Okay, great. Yes. Okay, so let's go ahead and I want somebody to give me let me get one student to come up here. And I want you all to write down those 3 pilots. I'm gonna call one at a time. I want somebody to tell me, give me the names of 3 female pilots. In fact, I do it because we, with COVID and everything, so give me one. Okay, I need all heads up, all heads up. Hello? Stop it.